Well,
So here we are.
here we are. Okay, well, that's always interesting.
Get Leon up here, we'll have a meeting.
It's got a minute. It's got a minute.
Okay.
Get up here.
Yeah, we may need it. We may need it.
Causing trouble again.
Not me.
Hey, Ron, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while.
Okay. All right, Greenville City Council, come to order. Please call the roll.
Schmidt,
Here.
White,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Ely,
Here.
Godwin,
Here.
Norris,
Here.
Rogers.
Here. All right, if I can have everyone stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Moving on, approval of the minutes. Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes. If there's no corrections or additions, we'll approve those as sent out. Approval of the current financial report.
Make a motion to accept the committee, or the report.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to accept the current financial report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, approval of the agenda. We do have one committee report to add. As far as I know, there's nothing else at this time. Need a motion to,
Accept the agenda as amended.
motion by Mr. Godwin to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion? Call the roll?
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to public hearing. Anyone wishing to step up and speak before council? Now's your time.
All I have is two thank yous. One from the people that live on Harmon, and last Friday, the city came out and picked up all that brush that was laying on the sidewalks and in the street, and the neighbors are very, very thrilled because it had been laying there and laying. Now, there's still stuff in that person's yard, but they did come and clean it up, and they are thrilled to pieces. And then the other thing that happened the same day, it was on last Friday, and I get a knock. I was standing in my living room, and this guy came up and started to knock on my door. And I thought, oh dear, what's this? And he had a door hanger, and he was advertising for tree service, you know. And I just came right out there and told him, I said, you can't do that. Yeah, we can. I said, no, he says, we have a permit. And I said, where's your permit? And he goes, my boss has it. And I go, that's a lie. I said, they don't issue those anymore. And I just want to tell you that you're going to get yourself into some trouble by knocking on the door. Now, you can put a door hanger on, but you can't knock on the door and advertise your service. And he's like, oh, okay, well, thank you very much. He says, I'll lay this on your chair. I said, that's fine. So he heads down the street towards North Broadway, and who should be coming down the street but a police officer? And so I stopped him, and I told him what happened, and I don't even know who the police officer was, but he said, oh, let me go scare him a little. So I said, he's in that bright orange shirt. And so I don't know if they said anything. But I'm thinking, I did look out here the other day, and I saw you have a notice in one of those frames out here. And I think I want to get something and put it in that message board. Because that way people know that if someone's knocking on, my neighbors still don't all know that. And I keep telling them, don't tell them they're not allowed to be doing this. And if that's okay with the council, may I post that down there just so, especially right now with all this tree service and everything going on, I'd like to put that and make it really a big heading notice that no one should be knocking on doors. And if that's okay with council, can I post that down there?
Doesn't bother me, but.
Okay? I'll see if I can get
One
a
guy.
copy of that letter, and then I'll make a big heading on it, and that way, because people are reading it. And I stopped at the Welcome Center today, and he said that somebody saw that signboard that in there across from the football field, and now they want one, and they wanted to know how I got mine. Well, mine came from the old East School, and they want theirs on Stebbins. Is that out there on 49 Stebbins?
Stebbins Field.
Yeah, they were wanting some kind of message board because they saw what I had done with that one. So I said, well, lots of luck, because it took me several years to get that one. But people are noticing it, and I try to change it every 2 weeks, usually on a Sunday afternoon. So I will work on that notice then. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, council. My name is Brandon Irvin, address 6828 Siler. I represent Main Street Greenville as its executive director. Just wanted to come here tonight and introduce myself. About 2 months on the job. Things are going well, super optimistic. Just wanted to let everybody know here that my door is always open Tuesday through Friday at the Welcome Center, 10 to 2. If anybody ever needs anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for coming up.
Thanks for coming. Glad to have you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate the time for me to speak. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Benjamin Boyer. I'm a lieutenant with the city of Greenville. I started in 2009. I was promoted from sergeant to lieutenant this past February. I can't say I fully replaced Lieutenant Flannery. He was very good for the city, but I'll do my best. But he retired, so I took his position. I just want to make a note for everybody that's here and people that are listening. I know we've had a lot of questions about, from my dispatchers who I oversee, we had questions about parking and the fireworks. So the fireworks are at 10 p.m. This Saturday at the fairgrounds. Parking is mainly on the Gate 5, Gate 6, the Abuse State Route 121 side, and the Eitzen side. We ask everybody when it's over, just please take your time. You know, when you exit, just be mindful of there's going to be a lot of pedestrians, people out walking along the streets, so and it's going to be dark out, so please just look around, be careful on your way out. We will have an officer at the intersection of Schweitzer and Eitzen to help with traffic. If you come down Eitzen towards Schweitzer, we're going to ask, and he'll be there to direct you out of town, because we want to get people flowing out and let people that are in town already get where they need to be. I do want to note that we had the procession last Friday and Saturday, and I do want to thank everybody that participated. It went very well. I want to thank all the agencies and departments that participated with getting it through town, especially our own officers that tackled the calls for service and the procession in the middle of the day. It was busy, and I do want to point out Sergeant Jason Marion. He did an excellent job with being day shift sergeant and handling a procession of that magnitude and that miles over that time. So thanks to him. If you do see him or any of our officers out, or the first responders, fire department, rescue, that all helped too with the procession. And with that, I appreciate everybody's time, and it is the holiday week, so I hope everybody has a safe and happy 4th of July week. Thank you.
Lieutenant, while you're here,
Yes. Yeah, if anybody has any questions.
could you just clarify for the public, because of the change in the state ruling with the fireworks that are permissible, in the 7-day period of time or whatever it is, that they're allowed to shoot them off, but there's a time limit in the evening?
Yes.
I believe. If you could just touch on that a little bit, please.
Yes, well, if people want to look up the dates for when people can shoot them off, the Ohio Revised Code, I believe, I actually looked it up today thinking maybe somebody would ask, I'll admit, but I believe it's 3743.45 is the Ohio Revised Code. It'll give the dates when Ohioans, not just in Greenville, can shoot them off, but I believe beginning tomorrow on the 3rd, throughout the rest of this week to Saturday, from 4 o'clock to 11 o'clock, you can shoot off, activate fireworks. Now, fireworks, consumer fireworks that are open for the general public that anybody can go buy, like at Walmart, local businesses. You can't, just for a quick example, if you have those big tubes, and they're like mortars. You can't be shooting them off in the city. So if you are shooting off fireworks in the city, it has to be on your private property. The owner has to have given you permission, or you are the owner. You can't be doing it in the alleys, can't be doing it in the streets, you can't be throwing them, into your neighbor's yard, et cetera. So the citizens, people that are listening, if you have an issue with fireworks, please do call us if you think that we're needed. Let us come out and make the decision and determine if it's illegal or not, and just be mindful that, we'll have as many people working as possible, with staffing, but, we will address your call as quick as we can, so.
Yep, very good.
Yep, did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any
Anyone
questions?
else?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address council?
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am Katie Benji, the Director of Transit. So I just wanted to speak to you all tonight to bring a few things to your attention and maybe explain things that may not be super clear. The private contracts that we currently have are what our agency depends on for operation. So without these contracts, there's a good possibility that operations will cease. The contracts that we have are with many different agencies due to the specific client and specific needs that they may have. Early this year, we met with ODOT, and it was highly recommended, in order to maintain our current service level, that we needed to reevaluate our private contracts that we currently have and also tried to build new ones. In order to do this effectively, it was important that we determine what the fully allocated cost would be, and this means taking things into account like vehicle maintenance, fuel, the driver's salary and benefits, the dispatcher's salary and benefits, the dispatching software itself, and many others. Mr. Delk and I worked together to figure out this number using data that we were able to pull from our software and actual figures that were provided by the city. Our plan at that point was to implement this new rate for as many private contracts as possible, so that's what we did. We were able to renegotiate several of our contracts at this new rate, which will increase our revenue as well as cover the fully allocated costs that we calculated. Only one of our private contracts have been competitively bid, and that is the contract with our County Job and Family Services. We ultimately won that bid against all the other bidders, and now it's time to approve that contract. Without this approval tonight, because the contract was set to start on July 1st, there are hundreds of citizens that are going to be left without their means of transportation for their medical appointments. This includes doctor's appointments and visits to pharmacies. While this contract is labeled as medical appointment transportation, it is still considered public transportation and not medical transportation. That would be like comparing apples to oranges. So just to reiterate, this specific contract was competitively bid, and we ultimately won the bid. There are several pieces of legislation tonight that we need to pass in order to be able to provide transportation services to the individuals covered under these contracts. The Darke County Educational Services contract has taken too long to pass, and their service period would have ended at the end of June. They are still discussing things on their end, but there's a good possibility that we've already lost this contract due to the delay. I already spoke about the JFS contract, but I am asking for approval for this tonight so the county can proceed with the signing of things on their end before the end of the month. If this is not passed, again, we will run the risk of losing this contract as well. The Rest Haven contract is also a renewal, but it will be renewed at the new fully allocated cost rate. Again, our contracts serve many different agencies and many different clients with different needs, but they're all important, and we are trying to do the best we can to get people from point A to point B with as little difficulty as possible. Approving these contracts tonight will allow us to do that. That's all I have, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Katie, did the old contracts all cover countywide as opposed to just city?
They did. It was just the wording was a little bit different in how the calculation was figured.
So as we renew and accept these new county contracts, countywide contracts, we're expanding the kind of the scope of the Greenville transit, correct?
Correct.
Are we able to do that without any additional incremental cost?
I mean, yes, we've been doing it since February, but the commissioners do give us some funding for this program as well.
Right, but as we add more and more, does that get to, when does that become the need for more drivers, for more buses, for more overtime, for other incremental costs.
So none of these contracts are new, except for the Dark County Educational Service one. Yep.
103, okay. But the other ones were all countywide before?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to ask this in a way that probably isn't going to set well. What was the original purpose of Greenville Transit? Was it for the citizens of Greenville, or was it for the county of Dark County? I'm trying to understand. Which is it?
So to answer your question, I don't know the original when it was originally started, but for many years it was county transportation and city transportation as well. I think it was like 2008 or 2009 when the county had decided like they couldn't afford it anymore and they pulled their funding off the table, and then it went to just city transportation from that time until February of 2024. And that the county came to us probably about 18 months, 2 years ago now, and said, hey, we really see a need for this. We want to open transit back up, and we're willing to put forth some funding to make that happen. And we worked with them through multiple meetings to come up with a price and a plan to make that all happen.
Are the citizens of the city,
Henry,
I'm sorry, are the citizens of the city getting the same level of service now that we're servicing a bigger area?
Yes.
and better, because now they're able to go out of the city throughout Dark County. Quite frankly, I'd like to see a program be able to go beyond that in the future, but to just be able to expand within the county and serve the rest of the county. I mean, we're the only city in the county, and we got a lot of rural areas that people need to go through.
We're the only city in the county.
We're the only incorporated city in Dark County, big enough to provide a transportation service. What other city is there?
No, I'm trying to understand, Jeff.
So we're the only significant sized city that's able to provide a transportation service within Dark County. I do believe that's true, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a gracious opportunity for us to be able to provide that service, and it's rated according to where they live. They're going to pay more, you know, that map, you know, in general services, not these contracted services, but, you know, you're able to go from, the county's split up in 3 different zones.
I got it.
Greenville being in the middle, and if you're going from Greenville to within that same zone, it's $5. If you want to go from Greenville to Versailles, it's going to be $5 because that's the rate is charged from where that particular ride is originating. But your return trip is originating in Versailles, so that rate's going to be $10. Same thing if you would go, what's the southern part, like Arcanum? Is Arcanum in the southern?
New Madison.
Somewhere like that. So if you're going from Greenville to Arcanum, $5 to go to Arcanum, $10 to get back to Greenville. So we're providing the opportunity for people outside of Greenville to have transportation within the county.
But keep in mind, we invoice the county monthly that mile cost. So it cost us $6.19 a mile to operate. So then the county pays that invoice.
So the county pays it, the people don't.
Correct. The people pay the $5 or $10, whatever that is, but the county pays for the actual trip, and then that $5 or $10 is credited to the county.
And
So they pay a portion.
And we're doing all of this with no incremental added cost other than variable cost of fuel and maintenance.
Correct.
And then ODOT also allowed us to expand to the county, so then they give us the 50% reimbursement on those, on our operating expenses as well.
Is that a permanent reimbursement grant or whatever it
We
is?
apply for a grant every year, and their grant cycle runs, so July 1, a new grant cycle started, so their fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th. So we'll apply for another one for next year.
So we're operating this as a cash positive entity.
Operating, it has to be.
We're operating this as a cash positive
have to.
entity.
Yeah, we have no choice.
Well, yeah, we do.
Well, but the
Yeah, that's my point. That's what I'm trying to get to is, and it's nothing personal. It's, are we really managing this as a profit center and truly managing it? Well, I know, I understand it's the best way to do it and the right way to do it. The question is, are we doing it? That's what I'm trying to get, where do we, how do we make sure that we're not punishing or penalizing the city of Greenville and the people of the city of Greenville by providing it and then running it a loss? That's what I'm trying to get to.
And that's why these contract rates have been negotiated to where they are.
So
And so look, when you run a system like this, inevitably it's based upon the overall number, and if drivers have downtime, you can take on additional things. You're asking, they haven't hired any additional drivers for this, they haven't bought any additional machinery, and they still have the ability to provide the rides so far. So essentially turning down these contracts is turning down revenue.
I'm past that point. I'm trying to get to how many do you add on before you start adding cost? And how do you track the profitability of the operation? That's what I'm trying to get to. How do we see that we're doing this in a profitable way and not subsidizing it by the city? That's all I'm trying to get to.
So I can sort of answer your question. So our revenue for January and February of this year were in the range of $4,000 to $6,000 per month. Last year, our revenue was over $30,000. I'm sorry, last month, not last year.
January, February was $4,000
$4,000 to $6,000
a month.
a month. Last year, the invoices that I sent out were over $30,000.
That's month.
Yes, last month.
Okay.
That's a little bit more than what we spent.
No shit. That's what I'm trying to get to. What did we spend?
They want?
What did we spend? That's what I'm trying. Knowing the revenues is half. The other half is what are we spending? That's what I'm trying. That's all I'm trying to get to. And maybe
We do have a level of decorum here, Greg. Just remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So just one more thing, I had this up here. I do have a letter of support from the Director of Job and Family Services that is also asking for your approval tonight. So if anyone wants to read it, I have it. That's all I have.
One thing that I'm hearing from local people is that they're having to wait to be picked up, either going to someplace or coming back from someplace. Then, are we, hurting the city of Greenville to be able to do medical transports?
So this is public transportation. So anyone can ride public transportation for any reason. So we are not allowed to say, no, we can't take you to the doctor, or no, we can't take you to the grocery store. ODOT would not allow us to do that. So,
But if they're having to wait a half hour to an hour, maybe an hour and a half, somebody remarked.
so we are a demand response system, and it is first come, first serve. So depending on when and how you make your appointment will depend on when you get picked up. Appointments can be made several weeks in advance.
But let's say somebody needs to go to Walmart and they have to sit at Walmart for an hour and a half to get picked back up.
If they set their pickup time before they get there, and it's in an hour, then we'll be back in an hour. If they wait until they're ready to go, it depends on how busy we are at that time.
But if you're on medical transport somewhere to Dayton or wherever.
We don't leave the county.
Okay.
But it's better than not being able to leave Greenville. I mean, holy cow, you're pretty tied up here. If you don't have a demand and response transportation system, that leaves your city, you're confined within the city of Greenville. Now you can go to Arcanum, and it's opening up the economic markets of all these other villages, and it really helps the county in all manners.
At what point do you think we'll need additional support?
Unfortunately, I can't make that call. I I'm not sure, but as of right now, we don't.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I speak to this issue?
Absolutely.
Procedure is,
My name is George Marshall, and I'm a resident of Brother Home in one of the cottages, 1000 Chestnut Circle. And I can answer some of those questions because I'm a writer, and I'm also on the board, and I speak to elderly people every day. And by the way, I've learned in the bus rides how many mentally and physically challenged people use this service and how important it is to their lives. And especially the people who, without this service, would not be able to work in various capacities in this community. It's just amazing. If you ever have a little time ride, you'll be amazed by what this service does. In fact, I came here tonight to thank the council and all of the councils that brought this program in because it's so badly needed and so many people benefit from it. Yes, at times we get a little tired of waiting, but having been on the board and seeing the operation firsthand, there are times when people call in sick and you don't expect it, or a dispatcher is not there, or they do the best they can. And I will tell you, because I'm in contact with older people all the time, we understand. We know, we're hoping we don't have to wait that hour and a half. But if it means the service, we're willing to do it. So, and she's right, if the customers put a time when they want to be picked up ahead of time, they won't have to wait. So part of it's our fault, and my fault too. So, but I really, really want to thank the council for this service. I think without it, I just don't know how many people, so many people would be affected. It's just incredible. And you take note of all this disabled people we have in this county. It amazed me. And I think it would amaze you how many people are in need. And people without cars and with no job, and this presents an opportunity for them to be a working individual and not on welfare. So again, I thank each one of you because I'm one of those old people that uses this service. Thank you.
George. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else wishing to address council? If not, we're going to move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to mention that this Saturday is the 64th annual Ringer Classic Horseshoe Tournament. Greenville is noted as the horseshoe pitching capital of the world, something to be pretty proud of as far as an image. And something like this really helps the economy of the city. These people are coming and booking up hotel rooms like you wouldn't believe, and adding to our community funds that are available to us each year. They also visit our restaurants, and this is a great tournament that's going to be taking place on July 6th and 7th at the city park. And thanks again and again and again to everybody at the street department for getting the park ready for this tournament. I mean, it means a lot, and I know they're very appreciative of being able to have their tournament this year, despite the fact that the tornado was 8 weeks ago. So that's a good thing. Also on Saturday, the first annual Dark County Cook-Off at the VFW. They're going to, it's located at 219 North Ohio Street. For those who don't know, the 2024 Helping Heroes Cook-Off benefits the Wounded Warriors Project. It's going to start at noon and run through 11 p.m. They're going to have 7 outstanding bands there, along with, they're going to have a Harley-Davidson raffle and also a 50-50 raffle. And so I urge you to come on out and support that effort as well. Again, at the VFW on Saturday from noon to 11 o'clock. And again, it's benefiting Wounded Warriors Project. Very, very good project. So also, I want to mention again our fireworks display. We'll be at the fairgrounds at about 10 o'clock at dusk. And it's normally held at around 10, like I said. And this year's display is going to be the culmination of a lot of these events that's going to take place down throughout the city. Food truck rallies in the fairgrounds, and also another place. I believe they're going to have an event on icing at Treaty Automotive. I think they're getting something put together there with live music and all that too. So it's going to be a good day, and the temperature is supposed to be in the 70s and sunny, or partly cloudy anyway. And as long as we don't have rain, it's going to be a good thing. Last year, we barely got our fireworks in because it stormed right up until 5:30. So we should have a good Saturday here in Greenville. I also want to just make mention of the great addition at the city park. Our street department put the railings in the sidewalk and graded the bank with rock and so forth, and making it a lot safer. The sidewalk certainly makes it safer in lighting and all that for people that want to walk through the park, and people are still able to fish despite claims that they couldn't. But I've seen people stand there at the railing and fish and doing very well at it and having a good time. So I want to thank the street department for doing that project. It really adds a lot to our park. With that, I pass.
Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few updates for the night. First, out in the city park, cleanup continues. The brush pile, there should be an excavator sitting there now. The tub grinder is supposed to arrive tomorrow, and then they're going to start on Monday grinding up that brush pile and hauling it away. It'll probably take most of next week. In the meantime, we're going to reroute some pool traffic, and I spoke to Mr. Freeze at the high school, and he's graciously agreed to let us utilize the stadium lot, so we're going to reroute people over there during the grinding to keep everybody safe and keep the contractor moving. I did just get word today that Dark County Solid Waste District is going to help us out with some of that grinding payment. The bid was $29,000 for all that grinding, and they're going to cover about $22,000 of it. So that was some great news for us for today. The tree program that Zachary Funeral Home is running, the tree donor program, is as of Monday, I think they were at $83,000, which is fantastic. So right now, I've been playing phone tag with Wendy from the ODNR Urban Forestry. So we're going to get together and meet, and she's going to lay out a plan for us for the park for the replanting phase, and then we'll get to that in the fall. As far as like the rebuilding and the structures and things, we received our check from the insurance company. Next step is we're working on getting quotes together. Some of the items were what we received insurance funds, and what we think the cost is going to be is a difference. So we'll get those quotes and get those sent to the insurance company, and then hopefully we can come to an agreement with them on the rebuilding phase of things. Willow Park restrooms, that project is still ongoing. All the block brick is complete. The rough in plumbing is complete. They started today on the roof structure, so they'll get that polished up this week. Next week we'll start doing electrical and moving all the splash bag controls and things into the structure, paint. And then I believe it's week of July 18th, the plumbers are supposed to be back to start setting fixture and the contractor for the doors. So we're getting closer. We're hopefully by the end of this month, told the mayor we're having a ribbon cutting. He said, I've never been to a ribbon cutting for a restroom before, but I'm in.
Now we have an adult changing table for the day.
That will.
As well.
Through Dark County DDO will have an adult changing table as well. The lead service line identification that we had talked about at the last meeting. So we came up with a plan. through Ohio EPA, we've come up with a flyer. So we have some community service, some students that need community service. So our plan is to have them go out in different neighborhoods and pass out these flyers. So basically, what it boils down to is this is like self-identification. They'll get a flyer, it'll tell them how to look at their plumbing and determine if it's lead, copper, galvanized. Then there's a report that they can fill out and send back to us, and then we log all that information into an EPA, a database that's ours, but then we can share with the EPA on the areas that we've identified lead. If it, and it all spells it out in the flyer. If someone isn't comfortable doing it, then they can call us and we can schedule an appointment. But this is kind of a much quicker way to get through it as far as not scheduling appointments with every resident in the city to try to get that accomplished. So the next couple of weeks, those will start going out in the city.
Are we gonna, put something on, like maybe attach it to the water bills or something?
So we're gonna put some wording on the water bills. We're gonna have these flyers, council, social media, the media, to get this information out, that we're gonna have people out doing this.
Great.
Absolutely. Maintenance paving, so maintenance paving to send out for bids is on the agenda for tonight. So hopefully after tonight, we'll start getting that advertised and getting the maintenance paving going. This is the largest one since I've been around. I think it's pushing $1.7 million. $520,000 of that is through Ohio Public Works Commission that they're going to be paying for. So we're excited to get that maintenance paving program going. And then Phase 2 sidewalks, the advertisements went out last week, and we'll start to work through that bid process as well. And with that, I will answer any questions, but I will pass.
All right, very good, thank you. Moving on, Law Director, Mr. Reeman.
Thank you. Tonight I keep it brief, but I just wanted to publicly thank everyone for all the support that council gave, that all of the employees of the city gave. I think it's my first time being back since my father's illness and passing, and so it's been a difficult go, but looking forward to getting back into the swing of things and back to normal. So with that, I'll answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you. Moving on, Auditor, Mrs. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to report to council that the documents were filed for the millage for both the 1.2 and the 3.8 millage. They've been filed with the Board of Elections, and they will appear on the November ballot. There were no issues with any of the legislation, so just wanted to report that. The other thing I know that the committee assignment was added to approve the 2025 budget. I just kind of wanted to review that a little bit. Because this budget process is the alternate format tax budget for 2025, which just means the simple version of just the condensed version of the budget, we will just require just an approval, just a simple majority to approve that budget. It does not require legislation because this isn't the final budget. So the final budget will require legislation. So it just requires a simple majority in order for council to agree for me to be able to submit that budget to the county. And with that, I'll take any questions.
For the levies,
Yes.
is there any, do we need to advertise for those, or do we advertise for those in the past?
No. No, they're just advertised as a renewal. We don't do any of that. Our responsibility was to get the paperwork to the board.
Okay.
So we don't.
I guess my question was from a city, are we worried one way or another? Or?
Historically, we haven't had any issues with the renewal levies, and so unless we feel like there's a pushback coming, then we start to put out some stuff. But as of right now, given the way that the culture's been with the renewals, there hasn't been a need to expend funds.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to committee report, and we do have one out of the Finance Committee.
Oh, I have to do that.
Close to the mic.
The Finance Committee met on July 2nd, 2024 to discuss the initial 2025 budget and request for community funds from the Daughters of the Revolution. The Finance Committee recommended to approve the initial 2025 budget. The Finance Committee also recommended to approve $1,200 donation to the Daughters of the American Revolution. Doug Schmidt, Greg White, and Leon Rogers.
All right, you've heard the committee report.
Motion to accept the report?
Motion by Mr. Brown to accept the committee report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now,
So we'll do
we need
legislation
to-
for the community funds, but if somebody would make a motion to allow the auditor to submit the preliminary budget, that would be helpful.
So moved.
motion by Mr. Brown to submit the initial 2025 budget to the county auditor. Discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. We have 5 more here to consider. The first is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into contract with Dark County Educational Services. This resolution was given first and second readings already.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Dark County Educational Services for transportation services.
You've heard the third reading.
The summary now?
Yep. This resolution authorizes the mayor to enter into contract with Dark County Educational Services for transportation services.
You've heard the third reading. So motion,
So it's ready to
Yeah.
either be adopted or not.
Make a motion to adopt?
motion by Mr. Norris to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
No.
Brown,
Abstain.
Ely,
No.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
No.
Okay, moving on. Number 2, we have a resolution authorizing mayor to enter into contract with Dark County Job and Family Services for transit. This was given first reading.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into contract with Dark County Job and Family Services to provide transit services. This resolution authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with Dark County Job and Family Services for transit services that provides the city with compensation in the amount of $22.65 for each person each way.
You've heard the second reading. Motion to suspend the rules and give this a third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
No.
Brown,
Abstain.
Ely,
No.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
No.
So we don't have enough to suspend the rules.
Just to move on from this.
Okay, moving on, number 3, resolution authorizing mayor to enter a contract with Rest Haven. This was also given first reading.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Rest Haven to provide transit services. This resolution authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with Rest Haven for transit services that provide the city with compensation in the amount of $22.65 for each person each way.
You've heard the second reading. I'll make the motion to suspend the rules, give this resolution a third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White,
No.
Brown,
Abstain.
Ely,
No.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
No.
Okay, we don't have enough there. Moving on, number 4, a resolution to authorize the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids for maintenance paving.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids, maintenance paving streets for 2024. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids for maintenance paving in 2024.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll?
Schmidt?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2024. Then, okay. A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2024.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
Mr. President, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
The scope of this, I read it in the legislation, but you see this as being something that's going to take 6 weeks to get turned around, 8 weeks to get turned around?
The bidding process?
Bidding process.
Yeah, so through OPWC, there's a certain way that we have to advertise for bids in certain language in the contract. So we have to advertise twice for 2 weeks in a row, and then we have a bid opening. So we're probably talking 1st of August. We can open bids, and then we'll have to come back to council to accept the bid, and then we can start that process. So 4 weeks.
So you're looking at a fall paving project, basically?
Yeah, the goal is, late August, early September. Yep.
This is standard with what's been done in the past.
Yeah, and this one especially because we're receiving OPWC money. OPWC is funded through ODOT, and since their fiscal year starts July 1, we can't bid it until July 1, but it's for their, it gets really confusing, but that's the reason.
Thanks for the explanation.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Okay, call the roll?
Schmidt?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2024. Okay, this resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids for maintenance paving in 2024.
Move to adopt.
Okay, motion by Mr. Norris to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll?
Schmidt?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
And we have one more here, resolution authorizing mayor to enter into contract for transit services within Dark County.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into contracts to provide transit services. This resolution authorizes the mayor to enter contracts to provide transit services within Dark County with compensation in the minimum amount of $21 per person each way. Prior to executing the contracts, the law director will approve the terms of each contract.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll?
Schmidt?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
No.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
No.
Okay. Don't have enough for that one. Okay. Moving on to new business. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. How about old business?
Nope.
Nothing? Okay, moving on, our council representative of outside committee, Greenville Union Cemetery, Mr. Brown.
Yes, so we had to reschedule the rescheduled meeting and yet reschedule it again. Softball tournaments took all the board members out of the meeting, so I don't have anything to report at this point.
Cemetery's looking quite good, though.
Yes, I gotta go, what's that?
Cemetery's looking very good.
Yes, looking real good, doing a good job. I did get a letter sent to me by a concerned citizen, so it's something I'm looking into and have to address yet. I haven't really done anything with it just yet. So.
Very good. Thank you. Communications? Anything? Nope. Okay, let's call down the council.
Schmidt,
Pass.
White,
A few things. First off, Brandon, welcome. And don't be a stranger here. Put the pressure on the group in front of you to do the things you need to accomplish what you need to accomplish for downtown Greenville. We're here to help, and we need to be sometimes prodded and pushed. So the door's open. I'd like to thank everybody that came forward tonight with different things for the council. I know we didn't make progress that some people wanted on the transit issues, and I, for one, will just clearly state that I'm concerned that we find a way to do these things, but to do them and know that we're being cost-effective to the city and to the citizens of the city. That's the whole issue that I have. And as we expand and get larger, I have concerns of how we're handling our citizens of the city and how they may become disadvantaged. I'd be welcome to have more conversations, Katie, in that regard. But also to the financial wherewithal for the city. I don't want to see us supplementing the county transit through the city. So I have a real burn for a financial report of transit on a regular basis as we move forward with what we do. And that's just because of where I come from and what I want to make sure we accomplish. Very simple. I don't want to see the city supplementing the county. And with that, again, thanks everybody for being here and putting up with some of my questions. Thank you.
Brown?
Just thanks everybody for coming, and with that, I pass.
Ely,
Yes, again, I'll reiterate what everybody else has said. Thanks for coming. And I also just want to say that sometimes it's not always the easy task that we're assigned to do. And when we ask questions and we're concerned about things, sometimes there's miscommunication. We've had miscommunication in the city earlier this week, and that got addressed. I'd like to say, close the chapter. I think we've done that. And I think that we can stay strong in our support as a Main Street representative. I want to say that we as citizens and we as the city need to stand behind the merchants, encourage people. I had somebody ask me this week, well, why would I shop downtown Greenville? My answer was, well, tell me why you wouldn't shop downtown Greenville. So that's, we just have to work harder on educating people about what a great city we have, what great merchants we have, what great things happen in our city. And if you don't plug into that, shame on you. Shame on you. So I encourage everybody, when you see something going on in the city, whether it be Main Street, the fairground, the schools, get behind them. It only is an investment of time, but it means a lot. I'm just going to say one more thing. I went to a senior citizens dance, a senior outreach dance the other night. And I hate to say this, but they put me to shame, all the things that they do out on that dance floor. I don't know, Miss Hillary, you might have to teach a senior dance. You might have to get them in your review. I don't know, they were pretty good. So, but get behind your city. Stay behind all the people that work behind the scenes. Brandon is coming into our city into Main Street Greenville as a new director. Well, just because we did something in the past, we need to be open to new ideas, and Brandon's got some. So let's get behind the new director of Main Street Greenville and give him our support, just like we've done in the past. So thanks, Brandon. And I pass.
Godwin,
Sorry.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming up, tonight, and with the fireworks being this weekend, people be safe with the fireworks. Don't need the fire department going out on anything. And it's dry out there right now, and fireworks would probably be not a good thing. And with that, I'll pass.
Rogers. Or Norris, I'm sorry, Norris.
That's okay. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and we appreciate the introductions at the podium, and Lieutenant, thanks for sharing there. We appreciate that. And Brandon, that's well taken. Katie, thank you for your report. Appreciate that. On the lighter side of life, GGSA, softball, we've got a big tournament. They're going to be having a lot of people coming in town on this Friday night, and we're going to be playing all day Saturday and Sunday, so probably about 2,000, 2,100 people coming in. And with that, I will pass.
Rogers.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming up, and the ones that got up and spoke, thanks for doing that. And welcome, Brandon, to your new job. And hopefully it works out well for you. And so welcome aboard. With that, I pass.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adjourn. Discussion? Call the roll?
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.